It's time for the Jesse T Show. Good to have you on the air and everywhere with me, from the community to the world. It's Jesse T, that's me. And I'll tell you, a long weekend of relaxation. I kind of felt a little bit under the weather, but getting to be a little bit better right now. You might hear it a little bit in my voice, or a little bit of a raspy voice. That's because you got a little bit of a cold, but not too much. Taking tons and tons and tons and tons of vitamin C to offset and help the immune system beat this little bug that's in me. But it's good to have you along with me on a Monday in Southern California. And of course, you know, we are living in paradise as the sun sets over the west coast here behind me in the west. There's just too many people living here. That's all there is. That's the biggest problem. And it's not going to get any better. If you can imagine for 1 minute, all the little children that you see at all the elementary schools and all the middle schools are all going to have driver's licenses someday, very soon, in your lifetime. Can you imagine a tenfold increase in the traffic problems here in Los Angeles over what we have already and what we already experience? It's pretty amazing when you think just 40 years ago, when I was 17, 18 years old, I used to go from Burbank, California to Zuma Beach in 30 minutes, and I wasn't rushing like a madman. Now that same drive will take definitely an hour and a half, depending on what time of day and what day of the week it was. So it's amazing how things have changed in just a very short period of time. And if you can progress and project that ahead, how things are going to change over the next 40 to 50 years here in Southern California. It's frightening when you think about it. In reality, it's absolutely frightening, because we have a hard enough time in this state as it is, with about 40 million people. Can you imagine 100 million people living in California? I can't. Well, that's why I'm going to be getting out. In the next year to 2 years, I will not be living in California anymore. And that's one of the reasons. The other reason is the high taxes. Over 13,000 businesses have moved out of California in the last 9 years. And the reason for that is they just can't afford to do business here anymore. The state government up in Sacramento, the Assembly and the Senate, keep robbing and robbing and robbing small businessmen and women of their hard-earned wages. And so consequently, many small business and medium-sized businesses, over 13,000 in the last 9 years, have moved out of California to more appealing states like Arizona or Nevada or Utah. In fact, they're not even going to Oregon or Washington, because those two states up there have been Californicated with so many exodus people leaving California. And it really doesn't matter whether you're in Northern California or Southern California or Central California. You all get taxed the same way. And so that's why so many businesses have left. And the other challenge is the penalties to have a business here in California, because there are so many rules and restrictions and regulations of things you can and cannot do. It basically just regulates your business and what kind of business you want to have. California is not hospitable to business anymore. The big companies have left, and now the medium and small companies are leaving. Just in 2017 alone, over 2,400 companies left California for greener pastures, and they have found it when they go back and they survey these corporate leaders and these businessmen and women. They found that their quality of life has improved and their profits have improved, thereby being able to give to their employees more than what they could give to their employees here. This is basic economics, really. Another reason why California is not the sweet land of paradise, about the only thing that's worthy of living here is the weather. I mean, when you think about it, what else is California good for? Certainly not business, overpopulation, I don't know if you've been down in the city of San Francisco lately, or Fresno or Sacramento, or San Jose or Bakersfield, or San Diego, or Orange County, or Los Angeles, or San Bernardino. But if you like what you see, and you like what it has turned into, then you should stay here. Because quite frankly, I don't like what I see, because I do remember a time when it was just the bare essence. Give me the basics. Clean streets, courtesy, manners, people who smile. All of that seems to be in the idea of what yesteryear was about. And to me, it doesn't seem like any of that is coming back with the population increases that we have here, and the sanctuary cities, and the illegal immigrants, and the vagrants, and the bums and the hobos, and the uneducated people, and the poor education system we have in California. It just doesn't make good light to have a quality of life for you and your family. So I recommend leaving this state and going somewhere else. I certainly am going to within the next year or two when my son graduates with a mechanical engineering degree. We're exiting stage east. We're not going to be here, that's for sure. But in thinking about that, I thought, well, okay, what does California need in order to it become the golden state again? Well, it needs a couple of things. First off, it needs to stop importing illegal aliens into sanctuary cities and taking that money and putting it into our school system and our policing and our infrastructure and cleaning our streets. Another thing that California needs, it needs to understand that we don't bend over for every new immigrant that comes to this state. They must bend over to be here. They're lucky to be in America. Another thing that California has to understand, that taxing everything has got to stop, because you're taxing businesses right out of the country. The list goes on and on and on and on. It results in just the same thing, and that is California is not the place to be anymore. Unless, of course, you want to be an actor in Hollywood or something along that line, then you need to be here. But other than that, there's really no reason to be living in this state. The one thing I have noticed over the last 10 years is people have become more violent and more angry. Angry is the word. Just mean and angry. Looking to fight at the first notice. No courtesy or manners anymore. Very disruptive and disrespectful. Do I have anything good to say about California? Not really. Look, if you can get a job here and work here, you'll make a lot of money. And if somehow, some way you can keep your overhead down, you could be okay. But if you don't, you're going to be on Poor Street, because California is designed to make you poor, to erode the middle class into nothing, to take away that which you have worked so hard for. That's what it's designed, because by golly, we do have to take care of our politicians, don't we? We got to make sure they live in the lap of luxury. We have to make sure about all these pensions for the police and fire and for teachers unions that go on and on and on and on and on. We have to make sure that they get paid, don't we? What about you? Does anybody make sure that you get paid? Here in California, I don't think that they care whether you get paid or not. I've come to the understanding and acceptability that you talk about one for all and all for one. Not in California. It's none for none and nothing for nobody. It's me, 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 my, I, me, myself, and I. That part of it is the problem too. I'm not real happy with California, as you can understand. It's a beautiful place to live and visit every now and then, but to live here, no, I mean, in terms of what I mean, beautiful place to live, the weather, snow-capped mountains and the beaches, but in terms of living here for any length of time and having a quality of life for you and your family, by golly, you better be making $500,000 a year. Because the idea that you have about living in Southern California is about $300,000 a year income. That's what it would cost to make that idea work. Other thing less than that, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel just trying to make ends meet. And that is because of our corrupt politicians. It's just that simple. The corrupt politicians who are corrupted by the big money, the banking and insurance companies, the corporations, the Rockefellers and Rothschilds, the Vatican. They're corrupt, all corrupt. And that's why they don't like President Donald Trump. Both stinky Republicans and demon-crazy Democrats, they hate his guts because he's not corrupted like they are. These are professional politicians that need to speak out of both sides of their mouths and the hypocrisy of democracy and shine the example of what that really means, because they're really doing it. And yet you Americans keep voting these people back in. You keep putting these people back in. That's the rub of it all. That's the thing that doesn't make any sense, is that you keep putting these people back in. You keep believing that they're going to change, which they're not, ever. Why should they? They've been very successful at what they do. They can just continue being the carpet baron and the robber baron and carpetbagger. They don't have to change. No one's going to police them and throw them in jail. Hey, no way. But if you bust out a parking ticket or a driving ticket and you don't pay it, the coppers are going to show up at your doorstep eventually with a $30,000 warrant for your arrest. Now you tell me the quality of that. There is none. It's not supposed to be anymore. What is there really to like about California other than the movies and the beach and making money? But the quality of life is not so good. And I remember quality of life that was a lot better not too many years ago. It's just in about the last 20 years as we've dropped off the end of the board into the deep sea of abyss. And the abyss called the middle class America and the lack of information they really have and understand. Is it ever going to change? I don't think so. Does that mean you stop trying to make it change? No. But you're just going to have high hopes, personality. That's all you're going to have. So I'm driving to the Jesse T compound to put up the Christmas tree, the shaggy tree tonight, and then I have to go train. And I was thinking, driving through this freeway complex, how hard it was for me to get onto the freeway just to get going. My goodness. It took me 45 minutes just to be able to get on the freeway and get going. Amazing. But we've got a shaggy Christmas tree this year. And it's kind of cool. Posted up a picture on my Facebook page. By the way, you can always catch the Jesse T Show at facebook.com/Jesse Terrero, as well as us on YouTube channel, Jesse Terrero, Instagram Live at Jesse Terrero, Blogger, Pinterest, Google+, Twitter at Jesse Terrero, and LinkedIn, and many other hot sites. Oh, that's interesting. What is this here? Sometimes cars slow down on the freeway and you can't figure out the rhyme or reason. Huh. They just slow down. Probably there's just too many cars and not enough places to go, really. So I'm selling the Grey Ghost for $550 because I drove it off the edge of the road when I fell asleep learning Spanish. It bent the undercarriage, but it's fixable. You just got to know how to fix it. So I'm dumping it for $550. And I had all kinds of people call me about it and didn't show up yesterday. And I had a guy I was supposed to get with today. He said he wanted to buy it, and he came and saw the car yesterday. He said to call him all day because I told him I'd be in the city, and he said, well, I'm there all the time. Call me and we'll take care and finish the deal. So I did, and he never responded. Why do people do that? Why can't they just be courteous and mannered and just send a text or an email and says, you know, I can't make it. I'm sorry. Good luck. I'll try to make it next time. Why do they have to be non-courteous and have no manners? What is it with our society today where people don't have any manners? That's the rub of it. It's not being taught to them. One of the Yukitas brothers has us on. Thanks a lot, Arnold. Some great champions there, great champion fighters. We love Benny and the whole Yukitas family. So the Jesse T Show has got a big special breaking news story on Wednesday. I'm going to be interviewing for 30 minutes Janine Kasem. Janine Kasem is the wife of Casey Kasem, who an investigation of murder has been opened up by the county DA up there in Petaluma, California area. So somebody murdered him. The district attorney thinks so, and she's got to find evidence to corroborate her suspicion. So we've got a big show on Wednesday coming up. We're going to be talking to her about this new charge that's rallied and what certainly happened from her point of view in the death of America's voice, Casey Kasem. On Wednesday at 5 o'clock, we want you to be there. This week's a week that we get ready for Christmas and we start getting ready to move on down the road. So be kind to people this week. Help people out. Do something that's out of the ordinary for you. You'll be happy for it. And help somebody else. Well, that's it for the Jesse T Show today. Just had to get a few things off my chest. We'll talk to you tomorrow. And you never know when I'm going to be on live. I just might end up at the front of your doorstep. The Brown Beauty is off duty. See ya!